First step is to take these clips out. So just a matter of getting under there, popping them up, and they pop out. Now we're going to reuse this when we're done with the fit. Put them in a safe. First step is to take these clips out. Just a matter of getting under there, popping them up, and they pop out. Now we're going to reuse this when we're done with the fit. Now under this cover, there are some clips here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. Now very easy to break. Best way to do it is stick your hand through. Now when I unclip it, I'll show you exactly what I've unclipped. So all I done was put my finger and I just pushed those back. And that, otherwise if you pull it off, these are so easy to break. So just be careful with that. On top we've got some 10 mils. And if you get the camera down here, it's a 10 mil that's holding the grill and the bar. So we need to get that out as well. A long extension to go down. So you can see that there. Now there's one at the back, which is there. You don't need to touch that. That's for your headlight, and that's your grill. Sometimes with the Loctite from factory, as you can see, factory Loctite, that's why it's a bit hard to get out. Same on the other side. Grill, 10 mils. Put your hands, so these come over, that unclips off. Now with the grill itself, now there's 2 ways. You can take the grill off separate, just put some pressure. So pop the grill back. If you come in through here, there's a clip down there. That one there. Now that's it for the top. You've got an 8 mil screw in there, or you can use a Phillips head screwdriver. You've got a star key there, and then you got some clips. So just pop all 3 clips out. That screw and that screw comes out. These will actually get more in. Just be gentle, it actually comes out nice and easy. Pop that out. Top screw, 8 mil or a Phillips head. Star key T30. That's loose now. Same on the other side. Get that nice out of the way. It's loose. Now, if you pay attention to here, you've got an 8 mil. Leave those alone. Go for the 10 mils. The 10 mils are actually the support that's holding the bumper. That steel rod there. So 10 mil, 10 mil. So there's 4 of them. The little 8 mils, that's the actual shroud of the bumper, so don't touch those. Now just here you got a clip as well. We'll remove that clip. There's one on top as well. Can you see that? Okay. Okay. Before we go and take the plastic bumper off, there's some wiring we have to disconnect. Have a look through here. So you've got your fog light wiring, and then you've got your sensor wiring. So if you unclip this, push the button. I'll try and show it nice and clear. Just push that button there. That disconnects. Fog light wiring. Just a little push of that there. Now the other side just got a fog light. So the sensor wiring is just one plug on the other side. Same thing, push the button, that comes out. It is pretty cold today, so what I'm doing, so I don't break any clips or the bar, is just heating up this area. If you're not careful, you can actually break the clips in the bar. So I'm just heating it up slightly. Come along to this side, it pops out there. So just kind of pull and give it a shake at the same time, so you don't break the clip. Have a look through there. A lot of times when you pull a bar off, these break, and then you can't reuse the bumper. Come back to the top of the bar. Got a clip there, that one there, and this one here. We'll just get those out. So they're a different type of clip. Once I pull it out, I'll show you the clip so you can understand. So it's just getting a flathead through in between and lifting it up. Okay. This part comes off. So all the wiring, everything's still there. We'll get to that when it comes time putting the bar on and the sensors and everything. Next, I'll take this shroud off. So M8 screw, 8mm, sorry. There's a sensor here, temperature sensor. Unclip that. Now on top of here we've got the radar sensor, and that's the clips that are holding it, and there's 8mm bolts as well. Very important not to drop this unit. If you drop it, you lose the calibration and it can be a very expensive ordeal. So I'm just going to leave that up here for a sec. On the front, we've got this foam cover, it's got clips on top. Same sort of clip. Just pop them off. And we've got clips here as well. That's actually holding this internal shroud. That's going to come off. So if you leave that on, it's going to flap around and make noise. So it's going to come off. So just push them out. Now with this as well, we're going to cable tie this very soon as well. Now this front reinforcement, this tie bar, we've got 15mm bolts attached to the chassis. So we'll go and remove that. And that's holding the tie bar as well. Got these support brackets for the bumper, they come off as well. Now the bolts we took off, we're going to reuse these, so don't throw these away. We've got 10 mil. Now, keep one of these. What we're going to do is actually move this. Now, this is an antenna. What we're going to do is we're going to move it and use this hole to mount it to the body. This can be really sharp, so if you're going to pry it off and you slip, you can actually slice your finger. I've done it a few times. So now I've learned the hard way. I'm teaching you guys not to do that. So just pop it through, bit of pressure, that pops off. And flip it from there. So we'll go and raise this. Picking up that hole there, nice high, out of the way. Just tighten that in place. Get the wiring nice and neat. Okay, now we'll take the actual bash plate off. Loosen it, it'll slide out. Come and have a look through there. It's a plastic clip that feeds into the chassis. Now the best way to get that out is you need a long pry bar. Be very careful, you've got the radiator condenser and stuff. Pop that in there. Bit of pressure. That slides out, so once it goes in, it clips in. Pop it out. That's what you need to take that off. Same on this side. Okay, now we're ready for bracketry, winch cradle, but before we do that, these are going to come off as well, these brackets. So this bracket here is what holds the factory bumper. This has got to come off. So you've got some 10 mil. Now this one here has to go back on after you pull this plastic off because it's holding the headlight. Now behind this, there's clips. So just a bit of pressure underneath, and then you're able to remove it. This one goes back on. As you see, it's holding the headlight. This one goes back in as well. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the H bar. We'll unwrap everything. Beautifully matched, as you can see. H bar. Fitting instructions. And the bash plate, which is there. Okay, so I've got everything out of the packaging to fit the actual cradle. Now the easiest way to do this is, I know there's a lot of bolts and washers, start matching them up. So if you do that, it just makes it easier to identify what goes where. Okay, so these ones here, we'll get to those. The main silver bolts are the hardware for the actual chassis. And the first step would be to grab your support bracket. And if you have a look on the plate, it's got the letter R there, meaning the right side. And that pops in, lines up that hole and that hole in the chassis. You can see it's got that support spacer there as well, to space it off from the chassis. And that sits there and there, and that lines up. To secure that on the inside is this plate here. Now you just grab your bolts and double check that they're the right ones for it. So in the kit there's 4 of the M12 bolts here with the large washer. The smaller washer with the same bolt is for the actual bar itself going onto the cradle. So there's 4 there, 1, 2, either side, 2 each. So we'll grab the plate, put this plate through, line it up. If you've got someone to give you a hand, it'd be a lot easier. If not, you can line it up. Now get that hand tight, and then if you get the camera through to here, what I'm actually going to do is, with my fingers, is push down, and you can see that moving to where we need it, and then I'll go and line that up and put the next bolt in. Okay, we'll go and do the other side. Also to note, I didn't show you that before, the longer side faces the front of the chassis. The shorter plate goes to the back. You got another set of hands, it's a lot easier. Same thing, line it up. I would just line it up and then I'll move out of the way. Brackets in, we actually keep them loose, and the reason for that is putting your winch cable on makes it a lot easier. The 4 factory bolts that came off the chassis, we're going to reuse those to hold the cradle. Get those ready. Now we're going to take the middle hole. So we've got these 2 bolts in, there's another 2 to come under through here. Give it a tight squeeze. Okay, everything's gonna be hand tight for the moment. Now if you go ahead and you have a look at the rest of the holes, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on top. Same on the other side. Over here we've got 5 for one side, 5 for the other. that I've already set up. Pop those through. Washer on the back. So what I've done is spring washer, flat washer, washer on the back, and then a nut. Everything hand tight for the moment. So same thing on the passenger side. Everything hand tight. Same thing. Now we've got a nut that's welded on the inside of the bracket. Hand tight. Go to the driver's side. All right, so everything is in its spot. Now, to line this up, if you don't get this even, you're going to get overhang on one side, overhang on the other. So the way to do it is to measure from behind. So you've got the plate here, then you've got the chassis, which is there. And you can get a measuring tape and measure that. So there. 15. And then we've got 14 mil there. So 14 mil, let's double check this one again. 14 mil. So that's in the center. You can go ahead and tighten all our bolts. Go ahead and tighten the chassis bolt. You can get the right size. That's a 19. It's actually an 18. Get them tight and then you can torque them. In the instruction booklet, it's actually got the settings on, if I can find it, yep. So we've got all our torques, so M6 11 newton-meters, M8 18, M10 80, M12 90, M16 90 as well. So that's a guide on torquing your bolts. Now what I want to do, I want to lock this in place. So we'll take out our measurements and just lock the factory 15 mil bolt, just so nothing moves. Go ahead and finish off tightening. And now go ahead and tighten the rest of the bolts. It's a bit of a tight fit, so be patient with it. And just so you know, these are 16 mil. Everything's tight now. Once you've tightened all the bolts, just go over and double check that the measurements are the same again, just in case nothing's moved. If you have a look on the face, another indication is the hole there, so the hole here. That's an even gap. I've checked mine and everything's even. Next step will be to get the actual bull bar ready to put on. We'll take the sensors out and show you how everything's done. Here's a beautiful H-bar. Fog lights here. In the center you've got the location for your tech pack. So your actual radar sensor goes there. Sensors, parking sensor there. So first step, come close. Now we're going to transfer this wiring loom over to the bar. Come closer to this. It's just a simple clip that pops off. You can see there. Okay, so that's all loose. Now it's a good idea to take one off at a time, put it in the bar, second one off, put it in the bar, keep it in order. You come close, this is how you separate. So we'll start with that. You push, there's a button there. As you can see there, you just push down and that releases the clip. Push one out, the other out, and then your other hand from the outside of the bar pushes it in. And that, as you can see, has released it. And if you come closer again, squeeze in this time and push out. That's what it's made up of. And I'll show you outside the bar. That clips in, and then that goes on top. Now, it went straight in because you've got these cutouts, or these locators, in fact, that they're factory locators. And this bar's actually got the factory locator as well. And that sits in perfect. And then from the back, the open end, that's the part the sensor sits in. So it can't go in that way or that way. It actually locates in there. When you come on the inside, and that clipped in place. As it come around this side, nice and easy. Fits like a glove. So we'll continue. So that one there is the outer sensor. We'll go on the next sensor, which is there. Squeeze together. Sometimes they can get stuck. Just a bit of a wiggle will help it. Now I've shown you how to do the first one. Go ahead and put the rest of the sensors in. And then I'll turn the bar over and show you how to that's all in, as you can see. We'll flip the bar over. So if you have a look at this large hole in the bar, that's to run your wiring through. Keep everything nice and neat and out of the way of this plate there. Okay, next I'll show you the tech pack. So we've got our wiring in place. We'll do the tech pack. I'll show you how it comes off the car as well. We've got a tech pack, unclip the wiring. And we'll just unplug, put the tape there. Same thing as the sensors. That's it there. And then that's it there. And then I'll show you how it goes on the bar. Okay, so this is the computer, the tech pack, the radar sensor. And just open it up, it just has those little clips. So it opens up there. Now just for ease of what we're doing now, just take these clips out. So we'll take the cover off. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove this bracket here. Now the little 7mm nuts on the top too. Take those off. And now to get this out, you need to actually push these in. Do it from the back as well. Okay, so you can see here, it's just got like a round dial. So when you push it in, the pressure locks it into place. So we'll get that off, we don't need that anymore. And also we need to take out these 3 plastic sleeves. You can cut them out as well. It's probably easier. Use some side cutters, pop those out, do the last one. All right, so now all 3 are out. Now if you come and have a look at the bar, this will line up where it needs to. That lines up. Some bolts that are in the fitting kit as well. So we've got an M8 spring washer, flat washer, and the nuts. Pop it on there. So go ahead and put the rest of the bolts in, and then we'll tighten this up, and then we can go ahead and the bar on. And what we'll do first, before we go and put the bar on, is we're going to add some pinch weld rubber that comes in the kit as well. Okay, so in the kit we've got some pinch weld as well. So we'll just go ahead and put that on, start up from the corner. When the weather's cold or the rubber's cold, it's a bit harder to get on. So if you grab a rubber mallet to help it go in. So if you want the pinch weld, that's the look you're going to get. If you want it without, you can just fit it on without there. Personal choice. For this vehicle, we're going to take it off, so that's just showing you how it goes on. All right, next step, we'll go and put the bar on, and we'll go step by step on fitting the bolts on there and how we're going to line it up and finish off the wiring for your fog lights. One more thing as well with the sensor wiring. So the outer sensor, which is the parking sensor, the wiring doesn't reach. So what we're going to do is undo this conduit, and we're going to extend the wiring. Alright, so once you got that in its place, thank you very much. Yep. Go about M12, put them through. You can support the bar, the other can put the hardware through. So go ahead and put your 6 bolts in, so 3 on either side. And don't forget your washers in, your spring washers. Everything hand tight. I'm going to run the actual the sensor wiring through for the radar sensor. We're going to run it through the same hole we ran the sensor, parking sensor wiring. So if you have a look in there, there's a hole down the bottom. We just want to keep everything nice and neat and out of the way of getting damaged or hit. You can plug that into the radar sensor. That pops in there. So we'll go ahead and cable tie all these after we've adjusted the bar. So when we're adjusting the bar, we want to give a nice gap right around, nice even gap. So if you bring the camera around, that's pretty much the look we're going for. So about 20 mil right around, and that allows for movement when you're forward driving on normal roads for the chassis and the body to work. So if you went and done it hard up against, you actually get damage on your light and your guard. So keep that gap right around. And we'll get someone to hold the bar and someone to tighten it. Then we can do it the same on the other side. Okay, so once you've aligned your bull bar, tightened it up, don't forget to torque the bolts to the manufacturer's recommendation that's in the instruction booklet. And then we'll continue now and finish off with the wiring. So we'll put all our sensors in, our radar's clipped in. I want to go and connect the sensor main harness and then show you guys how to connect the fog light harness. In the fog light harness you've got, so for this vehicle, you can hardwire this end. I'm going to double check and see on there. Okay, so this one here, PX3. Have a look in there. So we've got brown and black. Brown is your positive, and red on the bull bar is your positive. Okay, sometimes you just need to close those terminals slightly, just to line up. So those 2 male terminals to line up with the female. There, so you can see that it's a slight. Just put a screwdriver in there, just slightly bring him in. Same with the passenger side. If you have different plugs on your factory fog lights, that's what that's for. So you can just plug that into the fog light and then hardwire that to the factory plug or the factory wiring. And yeah, so brown and red on this vehicle. We've got the factory sensor wiring harness, the main plug. Plug that back in. So we can cable tie the rest of this together, nice and neat up top. Get it up as high as possible. I'll grab some cable ties. All right, so we've done all the wiring, everything's plugged back in. Next step is to cut the splash tray. So you can always just run it from that corner straight up to that corner. If you want to use a bit of masking tape or a square edge, do a straight line, and then you can cut it off there. So I'll cut it this way, and then I'll come up on an angle, and I'll show you how I finish it off. So what I'm going to do here also is I'm going to trim off just a slight, that's that corner there. So when it goes in behind the bar, you can rest up on the inside against it. But if it's too much, it'll actually put pressure on the splice tray. So we'll go ahead and trim. And just use the bar itself as a guide. Tuck it in behind there, nice and neat. Tuck it in. Nice and neat. So what I'll do here as well is I'll cut that off, finish it off. All right, next step I'll do bash plate, center bash plate to go on. That uses those two holes there on either side, and that'll meet with these M6 bolts. Just make sure they're the ones. Just 4 of those. And that'll actually slide inside. In the fitting kit there's also these brackets and these little clamps, and they're for the bottom of the bash plate. So if you have a look and work out how they go, so that's the one there. So that means this goes on top. Might need a flathead screwdriver. So that goes in like that. And then that'll sit. And once the bash plate goes up, you can join that to the bash plate. So just knowing which side's which. And go ahead and let's see this one. There, and then this goes through, secures to that bolt there. So once we go and tighten that up, that'll pull up into place. I'll do the other side before I tighten. So go ahead and tighten that one first, it's easier to get to. And then once that's tight, we can go and tighten the bottom one, and then tighten the front too. Tighten the bash plate. Hoist down. There's 2 more brackets that are for the grille. These are the last 2 brackets in the kit. So at the start of the video, we took out the long bolt for the grille. So this is going to go back in there, and this is to actually stop the grille from moving in and out. So grab your long bolts, your M6s. And then once your grill goes back on, with the grill as well, so there's 2 options. You can purchase a grill that's the shorter style grill, or you have to cut like this car's a wild track, so I'll show you the grill. So we'll actually be cutting just from here right across, come back up. So we want to follow these lines of the grill. So there's that option where we cut it, or you can purchase a shorter grill for the PX3, for the PX2, and there's no need for cutting, and it can go straight on. So we're just connecting the wiring loom that comes for the fog lights onto the factory fog light wiring. So I've cut off the factory connector. Now I'm just soldering the wires. So we'll just tape it up. Just finish it off nicely. Cover all the wires that are showing. We'll plug that back in. That's for the fog light. Now you can connect this wire here to daytime running, or you can add it to this same loom, and that'll give you, so the red wire gives you the center light, the yellow wire gives you the outside light. So personal choice on how you want to wire that. You can just tap it into this, or you can run it to daytime running through your headlight. Okay, so fog light is connected, and now this yellow wire is for daytime running / parker. We're gonna hook that up as well, and connect our wire to the yellow, just running some conduit. So I'll run this behind the headlight. So I've already checked the wire. So on this one, it is, in this vehicle, the PX3 Ranger, is brown with a yellow stripe. That's the wire you need, and that gives you the halo. So the wiring on the passenger side is green with an orange stripe running through. That's the one you need on this side. So just solder all our joins. Alright, so once you've done your wiring for your fog lights and your daytime runners, just clean up the wiring, cable tie everything, plug everything back in. The last step to finish off the H-bar install is the grill. So this customer's gone ahead and purchased a cut snake grill. No need to cut, so this will just go straight onto the vehicle. If you don't want this type of grill, what I've done is I've shown you a template on where to cut the actual grill itself. And I want to give you some measurements. Go off that bottom line, and it's 30 mil. So that's your bottom line. And then you pretty much follow that around. So it's 30 mil again. The best thing to do here would be to cut it a bit longer, a bit larger around. Go and test fit it. If it needs a bit more trimming, come back, trim it slowly. The best thing is if you trim it, you can always trim down lower if you do it larger, and that way you don't get it wrong. Or you could just buy a cut snake grill, save yourself, all that headache of cutting, and these look amazing as well. So I'm gonna put this on, you can have a look. Slide in there. And look at that, perfect fit. No need to cut nothing. Looks fantastic. Now, one more thing you got to do as well. So these screws line up with these brackets. As you can see. So that screw lines up, that corner screw lines up. So you can take that bracket off, and you can take the screw off, mount the bracket to the grill, and then you can put that back in. All right, so the grill's back on. Don't forget your 10 mil bolts on the inside. You got a 10 mil bolt that's going there and there. Then you've got this shroud to sit back on top, into the clips. Clip it in, put your clips back on. The ones that we pulled off earlier, the ones that go back in. Put them all back in, and that's the end of the actual install of the Ranger H-Bar.